All right, stock number 3, continuing down the alphabetical list. Stock number 3 is Teladoc. Teladoc, the ticker symbol is TDOC. This is a company, a rule breaker, that made a high, like Take-Two Interactive, on the final day of September. Teladoc touched 86 that day. Here we are, less than a month and a half later. It's gone from 86 to 59. So it's down 31%. And yet the company is the same company for the most part that it was a month and a half ago. The market has turned down, but not this company's fortunes. So why is this one of our bigger winners? Well, it's a more recent pick for us in Motley Fool Rule Breakers. In fact, I picked it 1 year ago this month for the first time. November 2017, it's up 84% over the last 12 months versus the market up 9%. So that's why it's one of our big-time winners. And yet it's still only in its first year as a Rule Breakers stock. Really happy to see that it's still up 84% despite having dropped 31% in just the last 6 weeks. So you can see it was already much higher, and indeed I think in time it will be much higher again, which is why I'm including it on this 5-stock sampler. So what are 2 things that I like about Teladoc? Well, first of all, if you get to know the business, and feel free to click around, Motley Fool Rule Breaker is our service if you're a member, or you can Google Teladoc and look over their services, but basically it's kind of like what it sounds like. This is a business where you can use a telephone to contact a care professional and get help. So it turns out you don't always have to go to your doctor's office or even the Minute Clinic at the CVS, or sometimes those aren't adequate for the kind of conversation that you'd like to have. Well, increasingly, Teladoc is getting its service in HR and benefits packages for good companies nationwide. You might be working in a company where you have the Teladoc as a benefit. You could dial up a phone number and have a conversation about your health with somebody who is knowing and professional. And so this is just, to me, an obvious business. This is a good example of something that could have always existed, kind of like, yeah, why not? Luggage wheels. Wheels on luggage. That really could have always been with us all 20th century long, but for some strange reason, it took a long time to show up. Well, in this case, I think it's a little harder to get regulatory clearance and really scale a business like Teladoc. It probably had to wait till more recently with the internet showing up and improving our lives. So I think that's a great reason for Teladoc's timing, but the company has clearly hit the ground running, both as a public company, but for years before that as a startup. And to me, it's one of those great stocks don't make you think stocks. It's an essay I once wrote. You can read it. I think you can Google Great Stocks Don't Make You Think, David Gardner, and you can read my short essay. But often, in my experience, if you just kind of step away from the stock market and the near-term Sturm und Drang of the market's up and the market's down and this kind of coverage of the markets, you just kind of think, okay, the time that I'm living in, what are the really obvious big things that matter? And then you kind of step away and just say, you know what, I'm just going to buy those stocks. Great stocks shouldn't make you think. Shouldn't make you think too hard. I think often great elevator pitches, like a solid 60-second pitch, should be all it takes to tell you about Amazon or Netflix back in the day. And to me, Teladoc is one of those kind of great stocks don't make you think stocks. So that's one thing I like about it. And then the second thing I like about Teladoc is, well, it's true of all these, but sure, yeah. How about the decline? I mean, it's down from 86 to 59 in the matter of just some weeks. And we're never looking backward at the Motley Fool or on this podcast. We're looking ahead, and I see sunshine in the future for this company and for you as a potential investor. So that's the reason I'm making Teladoc stock number 3.